Hello everyone and welcome to this gentle full body sequence where we're going to be doing a little bit of seated, a little bit of standing, just working into all the areas of the body and giving you a nice good start to your day. We're going to go ahead and get started in child's pose. So you can bring the knees together or you can take the knees a little bit wider with the big toes coming to touch. This one's especially good if you have any sort of lower back stiffness or pain. Taking the hands all the way down out in front of you, exhaling to sink the chest all the way down to the floor. Releasing the forehead to the mat. And just settling into the breath here. Taking some nice long inhales through the nose. Noticing where you feel the sensations of those inhales, where you feel the sensations of the exhales. Really reaching through those fingertips. Breathing as much as you can into the sides and the backs of the ribs. So really trying to expand through all areas of the torso. Letting the lower body become heavy and the upper body become elongated and lengthened. On your next inhale, you can lift the head up slightly, walking the hands all the way back towards the knees. If your knees are further apart, you can bring them together, coming up onto the heels, lengthening through the spine and the crown of the head. Take a nice deep inhale to lift the shoulders up towards the ears, and then exhale, send them all the way back. Inhaling to draw them up and back. Exhaling to bring them all the way around and down. Last one in this direction, and then inhaling to reverse. Exhaling, drawing them down and around. One more like this. Good. And then taking your fingertips onto your shoulders, just elongating these movements. So starting to introduce big circles with the elbows, inhaling to lift them up, exhaling to draw them around and back. So just exaggerating the movement of the shoulders. Taking them in one direction, nice and slow. And then reverse. Good. Exhale to release the hands down by the sides. Taking the right hand onto the left knee. Inhale to lift the left arm all the way up and then draw it behind you. We're coming into this twist. Gazing over that left shoulder. One more breath here, and then on the inhale, turn to face the front, bringing the left hand onto the right knee. Inhale to lift the right arm all the way up, bring it behind you, gazing over that right shoulder. Last breath here. And then turning back to face the front. We're going to introduce some bigger movements with the arms now. So inhaling to sweep the right arm up overhead, drawing the left arm behind you, coming into this twist but with the right arm raised. Exhale to sweep the right arm in front of you, bringing it all the way around, lifting the left arm up. Exhale to draw the arm down, sweep it around, and inhale to open up the chest. Taking it around. And then last ones like this, with your hips on your heels. And the next time we draw ourselves around, we're going to lift the hips up. So your hands might not reach the floor as easily, they might come to your heels, or they might be hovering, but we're pushing the hips forward, inhaling to bend back, reach that right arm. Exhale to lower the hips, sweep the hand all the way around. Inhale to reach the left arm up, pushing the hips forward. Exhale, sweep around. Inhale, pushing up. Exhale, sweep around. Inhale, pushing up. And coming into this pose again, releasing the right hand maybe onto the heels to drop that chin all the way up to the sky, pushing your hips forward, puffing up through the chest. Coming back to the breath here. And then on your next inhale, raise the right hand, raise the left hand, lift your chest up. Exhale to sink the hips all the way back to the heels. Coming onto all fours now, so stacking the shoulders over the wrists, the hips over the knees. Inhale to drop the stomach, gaze up. Exhale to round the spine, gaze down, moving between these two poses at the pace of your own breath. Just feeling into any stiffness in the back. Getting that circulation going. You might want to introduce some circles with the torso, so just moving it in any direction that feels good for you. We don't have to keep it to these two movements. You can work into areas of the spine that you feel need a little bit more movement. Just making sure to sync it with your breath. Coming back to a neutral spine. Inhale to lift the right leg, pointing it all the way to the back of the room. And then this might be enough for your stability, but you might be able to come up onto the fingertips of the left hand and reach the left finger forward, coming into this balancing table. Pulling up through the core, reaching with the fingers and the toes, creating this nice long line of energy. Exhale to drop the left hand, drop the right knee, coming into the same on the other side, lifting up that left leg, grounding down through the right shin, the top of the right foot. This might be enough for your balance, working on staying stable here, or you can come up onto the fingertips of that right hand, reaching the right fingers all the way forward, creating this nice long line. Pulling up through the core, not letting the lower back sink, staying nice and strong. Exhale to release the leg all the way down. Inhale to lift the right leg again, but this time the toes stay down, so we're pushing back with the heel. Inhale to shift the weight forward, coming onto the tiptoes, and then exhale to shift the weight back. So we're moving our weight over our wrists, working into the back of the leg. So this should feel good on the calf, on the hamstring. Just introducing some movement. And then inhale to lift that leg all the way up. swing it around so it comes to the outside of the right hand. And then exhale to sink the hips forward, bending into that front knee, coming into our lizard lunge. Your right shoulder is attached to your right knee. The chest is lifted, gazing forward nice and strong. On your exhale, shift the weight all the way back, straightening into this front leg. Now this might be a little bit tough. If you have blocks, you can bring your hands onto the blocks so that you have a little bit more space to straighten that leg. If you don't have blocks, you can just come up nice and tall rather than folding yourself over, rounding through the back, or you can bring a nice deep bend into that knee, just to release the hamstring if it's feeling very tight. Taking a nice few deep breaths here. Inhale to shift the weight all the way forward. Exhale, send the hips back, moving between these two poses with your breath. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. And last one, coming all the way forward to ground down through that left hand, reaching the right arm all the way up, coming into this twist. Breathing as you open up through that right shoulder. Exhale, draw the right hand all the way back down inside the right foot this time, and then exhale to send your right leg all the way back. Coming into the same on the other side, so extending the right leg along the mat, pushing down through the heel, really stretching the back of that leg, and then inhaling to come forward, exhaling to go back. Moving between these two poses. Nice and slow and steady at the pace of your own breath. And then the next time you come back to your neutral position, inhale to lift the left leg up, swing it all the way around to the outside of the left hand, sinking the hips forward, bending into that left knee, coming into lizard on the other side. Keep the chest nice and lifted. Spine is nice and long. And then taking this runner's lunge half split on the other side. Again, if you have the blocks, you can lift yourself up slightly to make this a little bit more accessible. Exhaling to shift the weight backwards, coming onto the heel of the left foot, straightening through that left leg. Again, if you don't have blocks, you can use just the floor, or you could bring more of a bend into that left knee just to make it a little bit less intense. On your next inhale, shift your weight forward, bend into that left knee, sinking the hips. Exhale, send the weight all the way back, lengthening through the hamstring. Inhale, coming all the way forward. Exhale, coming all the way back. Last one like this, inhaling forward, exhaling back. And then on your next inhale forward, ground down through the right hand, remove the blocks if you have them. Inhale to lift that left arm all the way up to the sky, gazing up at the fingers, pulling the chest open. Exhale to drop that left hand all the way back down. Send that left leg back as you breathe out into your tabletop. And now we can stay here if you feel like this is enough for building up the strength in your arms, or you can exhale to tuck the toes, send the hips all the way up into our down dog, Keeping a nice deep bend in the knees here. Your heels don't need to be on the floor. Just thinking about sending the hips up, lengthening through the spine, broadening across the shoulders, keeping the neck nice and long. From here, you can introduce some gentle movement into the legs, maybe bending one leg, then the other, pedaling out the hamstrings, moving the hips from side to side, whatever feels good for you. And then inhale to lift up the right knee, draw it all the way in towards your chest and send it forward in between your hands. Now, if it gets stuck halfway, you can use your hand to just pull it all the way up. This isn't always about flexibility. Some people will have longer limbs than others. So if you struggle with stepping your foot through, you can use your hand or you can use blocks just to create a little bit more space and help move that foot in between the hands, whichever is easiest for your body, easiest for what you have at hand. Keeping the back leg lifted, inhale to lift the arms up, coming into our high lunge. Keep the front leg nice and strong, reaching through the torso. And on your next exhale, we're going to open out to the side, coming into our warrior two. So the back leg turns to face the short edge of the mat. The front knee still keeps that nice deep bend. The hips are turned towards the left. And then extend the arms out into a T, gazing over that middle finger. Coming back to the breath here. On your next exhale, bring a bend into that right elbow, drawing it down to the right knee, extending the left arm up overhead as you inhale. There's also an option here, if you have the block, to bring that inside the foot and plant the hand there so that we can open up that way. But if you don't have the block, you can just rest on that knee, opening up the chest to the sky. On your next inhale, straighten that front leg as much as you can. You can keep a bend in it if you need to, but we're going to draw the right hand down to the inside of the shin. So if you have that block, you can bring that there, or you can just rest your hand wherever it lands, and then inhale to lift your left hand up towards the sky. So we're creating a straight line with our bodies here. On your next exhale, turn to face the front of the mat. If you have the blocks, you can grab them and put them on either side of your foot. If you don't have the blocks, just bring a nice deep bend into the knees so that you can come a little bit further down to touch the floor. And then we're going to inhale, lift that left foot up, step it forward slightly so we're in this shorter stance. This is where the blocks come in handy. You can lengthen the spine here as you inhale, and then exhale to fold over that leg. If you don't have the blocks, it might be a little bit harder for you to reach the floor, but you can just bring a bend into that right knee. Release the forehead towards that thigh as much as you can. Inhale to lift the head all the way up. Plant the hands. If you have the blocks, you can move them to the side. And then step back either into your down dog or into your tabletop, whichever your body is calling for today. Taking a few deep breaths here, wherever you are. And then on your next inhale, lift up the left leg, draw it in towards the chest. Inhale to step it all the way through in between the hands. Again, using whatever you have at hand to make this as easy as possible. Bending into that left knee, inhaling to lift the arms up overhead. Coming into our high lunge. Nice steady breaths here, keeping the legs nice and strong, reaching up with the fingers. And then on your next exhale, turning to face the right hand side of the mat. The right foot will come to face the short edge. Bending into that left knee, extending the arms out into a T, opening up through the hips, tucking the pelvis, coming into our warrior two. On your next exhale, draw that left elbow to the left knee, reaching the right arm up overhead, coming into that extended side angle, creating a long line from the right fingertips to the right toes. Again, if you have your block here, you can bring your hand a little bit further down, reaching that right hand up towards the sky instead. And then from here, exhale to straighten that front leg. So if your hand is on the block, you can keep everything else where it is. If your hand is on the knee, you can just bring the hand to face the floor, letting the hand rest wherever it needs to, near the shin, opening the chest up towards the sky. Exhale to draw both hands back to frame that front foot, grabbing both blocks if you have them, or just grabbing onto the floor with a little bit more of a bend in the knee. Inhale to bring that right foot forward into this shorter stance, and then whether you have the blocks or not, inhaling to lengthen the spine, exhaling to drop that chest towards your thigh. Make sure to keep pulling that left hip back. There's a tendency to draw it forward to bring the torso down. So keep pulling that left hip back and the right hip forward to square the hips as you fold. Good. Inhale to lift up through the torso. Bend into the left knee and step the right foot all the way forward, coming to the top of the mat. If you have any blocks, you can just remove them. And then slowly, slowly inhale to ripple up through the spine, coming to our standing position. Coming to our standing posture at the top of the mat. Inhale to reach the arms all the way up, spreading across the fingers, reaching through the fingertips. And then exhale, we're going to fold all the way down. So send your hips to the back of the room, hinging at the hips, bringing the torso all the way down. If you have blocks, you can use them here so that your hands have something to grab onto, or you can just bring them onto your thighs or your shins, whichever is easiest. But bring a slight bend into those knees, and it might make it a little bit easier for you to bring the hands to the floor. Let the upper body hang heavy. Tuck your chin in towards your chest. Just taking a few breaths here, settling into the forward fold. You can grab onto the backs of your calves if you can reach them, pulling your head closer towards your thighs, but making sure not to round too much in the back, keeping that spine as long as we can. Inhale to lift the head, straighten the legs and straighten the spine, gazing forward. Hands come onto the shins, onto the knees, wherever they land. Lengthening through the spine here. And then on your next exhale, bending through the knees, letting the chest fall down nice and heavy, coming into the fold. Inhale to straighten the spine, straighten the legs, gaze forward. Exhale, drawing everything down one more time. Inhaling to lift the head. If you have any props, just go ahead and move them out of the way. And we're going to step back into our down dog. So planting the hands here, you can bring a nice deep bend into the knees. Inhale to lift up that right foot, step it all the way back. Let the left one meet it, and then exhale to send your hips all the way up to the sky. Coming into our down dog. Broadening across the shoulder blades here, taking some nice deep breaths. On your next inhale, lift the left leg all the way up, step it in between the hands, and then we're going to walk the hands to face the right hand side of the mat. So we're coming into a wide-legged fold. Again, if you have blocks, you can use these underneath your hands to make this a little bit more accessible, but equally, you can use the floor if you don't have anything to hand. That's absolutely fine. So bringing the big toes slightly in. We're not facing the long edge of the mat completely. They're slightly in. Keeping the legs nice and strong. Exhaling to shift your hips back as you draw your torso down towards your thighs. So this is where the blocks come in. Once you've reached your end point where your hips can no longer move back anymore, grab onto the blocks or release down onto the mat. And then exhale to release your head as much as you can. Think about pushing the backs of your knees to the backs of the room. So normally I like to introduce a bit of a bent knee into a forward fold, but for the wide-legged one, strong straight legs are going to give you a lot more stability and a lot more strength. Finding a nice steady breath here. And then on your next inhale, lift the head up, straighten through the spine. Wherever your hands are, we're going to turn the feet to face out. So the toes are now facing the corners of the mat. And then exhale to sink your hips down, shift your hips forward, bending at the knees, opening the knees out to the side, coming into our goddess pose. From here, bring the left elbow to the left thigh, extend the right arm up overhead, keep the legs nice and strong. I know this one can be tough, it builds a lot of heat in the legs. So coming back to that breath, that stability. Exhale to draw your right elbow towards your right knee, and then inhale, reach the left arm up overhead. Coming into that side bend on the other side. Keeping nice and strong in the legs. Inhale to lift yourself all the way back up. And then shuffling the feet in as much as you need to. We're going to drop the hips all the way down into our Malasana. Now, if you have a block handy, you can bring them underneath your sit bones just for a little bit more stability in this pose. But if you would like more of a challenge, you can remove the block and just build up a little bit more strength in the glutes here. You can have your hands on the floor for stability, or you can bring them up to heart center, pushing the knees away with your elbows. Coming back to the breath here, you can close down the eyes. Spine is nice and long, sit bones are pointed down to the floor. Exhale to release the glutes all the way down, coming into a seat. Turning to face the long edge of the mat. Extend your left leg all the way down, bringing a bend into the right knee and drawing the outer edge of the right foot onto the left thigh. Now, this might be enough, opening up the hip with a little bit of a pull on the glutes there, or you can bring the hands behind you, bend the left leg, and draw the left thigh in towards your chest. This is going to bring a bit more of a stretch to this part of the leg rather than the front of the hip. Settling into the breath. Exhale to extend the left leg all the way down, letting the right knee fall out fully to the side and the inside of the right foot meeting the inside of the left thigh. Inhale to lengthen the spine. Exhale to walk the hands down, but instead of rounding through the spine and getting your chest as close to your thigh as possible, keep the spine nice and long. So we're pulling the belly button towards the thigh, the chest towards the toes, rather than just reaching the forehead as close to that leg as we can get it. You can do this with blocks if you have anything to hand. Inhale to lift up through the chest, walking the hands all the way back towards the hips, extending the right leg along the mat this time, drawing the left foot up, bringing the outer edge of the left foot onto that left thigh, maybe staying here, maybe bringing a bend into the foot, pulling that right thigh towards your torso, opening up that left hip towards the side. Exhale to extend that right leg all the way down, letting the left foot come to the inside of that right thigh. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale to walk the hands down, keeping the spine nice and long, keeping the chest lifted. We're not interested in depth here. We're interested in keeping that chest nice and lifted. Inhale to walk the hands all the way back. Bringing a bend into the right knee, drawing the soles of the feet together into our bound angle. Firstly, just introducing some movement, knocking the knees up and down. And then coming back to stillness with the legs, interlacing the fingers, bringing them underneath the feet, using the thumbs to pull apart the big toes like the pages of a book, shuffling your hips all the way forward and letting the knees come as far down as you can, lengthening through the spine, puffing up the chest, coming back to that steady breath. On your next exhale, release the feet, pushing them a little bit further away from you. This time we are going to round through the spine, so grabbing onto the heels or the toes. Exhale to draw your head as close to your feet as you can, rounding through the spine, pushing the knees away from you. Inhale to lift the chest all the way back up. Taking the hands behind you with the fingers facing you. Draw the feet out so they're as wide as the mat, and then exhale to just knock the knees to the side. Inhale to bring them back up. Just alternating from left to right. And then taking the legs all the way out to the bottom of the mat. Shuffling the hips forward. Exhaling to come all the way down onto our backs. Let the feet fall out to the sides. Let the hands fall out to the sides. Coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana. Taking this time to integrate everything your body has done today. Giving yourself a gentle scan from the top of your head all the way down. Noticing how everything feels and allowing it all to surrender to gravity, releasing it all to the mat, releasing it all. Releasing tension, releasing anxiety, releasing fear, releasing control over outcomes, and practicing detachment in its truest form, stillness and silence. Using these last few minutes to pay attention to the thoughts that arise without judgment. Noticing them and allowing them to pass by. A few more breaths in this space, allowing your breath, your heart rate, your body to return to its natural state. And then on your next inhale, start to introduce some gentle movement back into the fingers, back into the toes. Slowly start to wake the body back up, bringing the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a nice big hug. You can rock from side to side. Keeping the eyes closed, rolling all the way over onto your right hand side. Slowly, slowly coming up to a seat. Crossing over the legs. And then taking the hands in front of you, rubbing the palms together. And cupping them over your eyes. Slowly blinking the eyes open and then removing the hands into the lap. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this gentle full body sequence, and I will see you next time.